Chad from Zombie Fight Shark, and welcome to episode 8 of our Thor walkthrough, complete Thor walkthrough. We've been talking about oscillators in this episode. This is the last oscillator we're going to talk about. We've talked about the rest of them. This is the multi-oscillator. And we're going to not cover a couple, just one or two pieces here because we've already covered them in episode 3. But let's get into this multi-oscillator and what it does. So keyboard, octave, semi, tone, and tune. Those are all covered in episode 3 when we talk about the analog oscillator. So you can go back to that if you don't know what those buttons do, those knobs. And what is the multi-oscillator and what does it do? So you have these bass waves, carrier waves, whatever you want to call them. And then you have your detune modes and the amount that the detune mode is affected. So, you know, it's like kind of a sine, kind of a different sine, whatever that is. Sort of looks like a square there, but when you look at the actual wave and the sound, oh, you know what? Not that squarish though, a little different. Harmonics are different, and then this one looks sort of like a sawtooth, but you know, obviously not a sawtooth when you look at the wave. So, so if I want to apply my detune mode, very EDM sound to it there, and then you just take it to an extreme. It's just slightly above tune noise there. So there's your, it's, you know, randomly detuning it. Different algorithm. Sound about the same. Obviously, there's something different. Yeah, there's something. It's a little different. It's hard to spot, but it is what it is. So there's your first two. Interval detuning. You kind of end up with the same thing, I think, and then I believe it's going to continue with all of them. When you get to the top, you start to, it's just kind of like noise. So, it's, what is that? So it's a small interval. And as you're moving, it's kind of adding more harmonics, like. So linear. And it sounds linear. You can hear it. I think you get the idea. A fifth up. And then in between here, all your steps between a fifth. Octave up and down. So you'll hear one thing go up, one thing go down. Reminds me of basement jacks. Where's your head at? Where's your head at? Yeah, I think there's a sound in that song. Something very similar. So that just says fifth, and it sounds like fifth up and fifth down to me. And it starts at when you're at 0, you actually have a fifth. So it's moving 2 things at once on top of what you already have. Octave. It's an octave up and an octave down, if you can't tell. And then they keep going. They diverge further until it's not really musical anymore. And that's it. So you got all your different intervals here. And they all kind of have a non-musical side to them. So I think this is one of those that, you know, there's a couple things it does that are real obvious for certain types of sounds. You know, it's just ready for an EDM song. And then there's, you know, other. You just want to just play with it and kind of get familiar with the types of sounds that it makes. And I feel like this is one that just, it maybe doesn't necessarily not gonna stand all on its own, and except for special circumstances, that's gonna do much better to mix with other sounds. So you know, use how you will, and send me samples. Drop them in the comments. Like and subscribe if you appreciate this content. And that was it for the oscillators. This series is going to continue now. Next episode is going to be filters. We're going to talk about filters and routing, and kind of how you use filters. We covered this back in episode 1, but we're going to go ahead and touch on it again and go a little bit more in depth into it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.